Hey folks, it's Jang here from ultimaterc.com, just continuing my build of the associated SC10 4x4 electric short course truck. This here is bag J, and this is going to be the beginning finally of working on the center of the chassis. This is the main chassis piece. It's the flat center section onto which the business ends will be attached. Got some more hardware here. Here I'm just gonna put the Nerf bars onto this, and then this is the lower half of the receiver box, and move on from there. Now here the front end actually gets attached finally to the center section of the chassis. Let's see how this works. And that is all nice and keyed together, and I'll just need to put some hardware in there and see how well this stiffens itself up. Okay, and the answer after getting all that hardware in there is that is pretty freaking stiff, dude. Oh my God. Oh, that is, wow. All right, that was just a simple matter of screwing together some screws. And now let me go ahead and zoom this out just a little bit. And there you go, you can see I actually have an SC10 4x4 chassis here. Okay, this is another bag, okay? It's bag K. Center tunnel, inner belt shield. This is all stuff for the slipper clutch, I'm assuming. Wow, that's a thick spring right in there. Got your two spur gears here. One of them is 32 pitch, one of them is 48 pitch. The all-important belt itself, very nice, very sturdy feeling thing. There's, yeah, not a lot of flex in that. 5mm wide. Remains to be seen just how long these things will stand up. For this truck, you build two belt tensioners, and there you can see one of them installed. And I'm also starting to put in the thrust bearing right here. Here's one of the belt tensioners still out of the vehicle. It just has one single ball bearing inside of it, and it has this carrier, and the carrier has tiny little notches along the edge where, coming in from the other side, you've got one screw that's actually going into the back of this whole unit right here. You can see the screw hole for it here, and then that's just a 3mm, and then you've got another smaller screw up here for locking it into place, and that screw just kind of goes into one of these little knurled grooves on the forward side of the carrier. Again, you have two pulley options included with the kit, and one of them is an underdrive pulley here, and one of them is just the normal one. I'm going to use just the normal one for now, which should help to ease tire wear. All right, so I've gone ahead and inserted the belt, and I added the front belt tensioner, just installing it into place, and went ahead and also put the spur gear on with the slipper clutch, which is just a very straightforward thing, you know. It just has its just has the pads, and you've got your spring and a little adapter at the end and a lock nut. This belt is very, very, very tense, and it is putting a lot of pressure on the system. There's a lot of tension that's just, I don't know, feels like it's slowing it down. And I actually backed this out. The front belt tensioner is actually all the way at its most loose setting right now. The rear one is in the center position. The front one is at its most loose position, which is actually one step more loose than the manual suggests. When I had it where the manual says to have it, the belt was ridiculously tight, and it was definitely just putting way too much pressure on the system. I know that these belts do stretch. They do have a break-in period, hoping that that doesn't take too long. But even as it is, with it loosened up a little bit, it's still a little bit uncomfortable to me. Worried about overheating motor on that very first run. So this is definitely something I'm going to be watching out for, making sure that this is not too much. But for now, it is time to go ahead and continue building up the tunnel, which is just the covering that's going to go over the belt to help protect it and keep out rocks and dust and stuff like that. All right, and there we go. I've got my motor now test fitted in there. You'll actually find an entirely separate video on my channel just about how to fit these long can Novak HV or ballistic 550 motors into this chassis. As you can see over on this side, there is no extra room, and there are actually a couple of tricks involved. First of all, to just be able to get the can in at all, because you're supposed to put the motor in at this stage after everything is put back together. It's not geometrically possible with the way that everything is assembled. So there's a little bit of disassembly required there. I show you in that other video the easy way to do that. And then there's also a little bit of dremeling required to the inside of here to allow that motor to sit flat. Now, I have not chosen a pinion gear as yet, but that will be coming up separately once I start doing all the electronics and all that. Speaking of electronics, they now, next in the assembly process, after you get the pinion installed, you cover all this up here with one single cover like so. There's a ESC mount that's going to be installed, and then we start looking at actually installing the electronics themselves. Contents of bag L here. Like I say, we got the cover, ESC mount, top of your receiver box. Here's the water or weather resistant little gasket for the receiver box. More of the general hardware for securing stuff down. Lots of double-sided tape and also padding material, battery spacers, all that good stuff. Now here's an interesting question. Why wouldn't they just have you mount your speed control right down there in the chassis? It's a huge open flat space. Why do they give you this separate mount for your speed control to set it on top of? It's just another flat plate. Well, it's a pretty simple answer. It's very clever. This is a shock absorbing mount. You've got this foam over on one side here, and then on the other side it's got these silicone rubber grommets. Hopefully this will focus. And those are also shock absorbing little bushings underneath there. So the entire thing is a shock absorbing platform that will help to prevent just catastrophic failures from your speed control, which can be caused from hard landings that can actually pop components right off of a board on a speed control. I've seen that happen plenty of times. It's actually a fairly common occurrence, unfortunately, with heavier, high-flying electric vehicles that are low slung and mount the electronics directly on the chassis. So they've taken care of that here by giving you a little bit of a platform that has a little bit of give to it, to take just some of the hardest parts of shocks right out of your speed control's platform. There she is with all of the electronics installed. Got my receiver in there, got the cover over the dust resistant cap here. It's got nice little rubber grommets around the end, and also here for the antenna exit. Nice platform, like I said, for the speed control to mount on with the grommets underneath of it. Got adjustable pads so you can go front, middle, or rear for battery placement to just adjust your weight distribution slightly. Your battery wires are going to come one on one side of the belt tunnel, one on the other side, like so. Probably the most efficient thing to do is to just have bullets coming off of your ESC, but I'm using Deans on everything, so I'm just going to keep it like this for now. You can go above or below the tunnel with your wire. Let me go ahead and show you how the battery hold down strap works. There's a lock on this side, which was installed much earlier. This just slides out, and there you go. And there's a little groove that this fits into. Just push it in, and it locks in place. This one's a little bit loose with this particular battery. I think most of my batteries are a little bit taller than this one, but I may just put a little bit of padding on the bottom side of this this battery hold down, just to make sure that the battery isn't able to move around a little bit in there. And the final steps will be to go through and add the bumpers, and then start getting into details like body, skid plates, and mounting up some tires onto the wheels.